A communication log for absences can be really critical to our documentation process, not only to have a record of communications that were had, but it also notes absences, reasons for absences, and the communication around those, as well as giving us a snapshot view of any patterns that might be occurring with an athlete's absences. We're going to have these for each of our athletes. They're all going to have one of their own. This athlete is going to be, we have Abby McGrath. All right. We have parents, Toby and Jenna. So we have an instance on 9/5, September 5th, where Abby was absent. Abby's dad, Toby, called coach and let her know that Abby was not going to be there because she was sick. So this is an excused absence. So we're going to mark that that was an approved absence. What the reason was. All right, Abby was ill with a fever. We don't need her at practice spreading germs, all contagious. So we are cool with her missing practice and getting some rest to feel better. How did this communication occur? Dad called coach. All right. Now we have a record of that. We have it noted. We can look back at this at any point and know what was going on that day and how the communication was handled. Maybe the next day, Abby is absent again. All right, we've got practice again. We don't know what's going on. All right, so this is an unexcused absence. We have no idea what the situation is. So we attempted to call the mom with no answer, so we left a voicemail. Now, it's possible that mom calls us back in the next day or two and informs us that Abby was still sick and maybe potentially went to see the doctor because her fever wasn't doing well. So, what we can do is we can just scratch this out since if you're like me, most of us operate in pen anyway, and we will just adjust this to excused, ill, doctor visit, or fever again. We're going to do mom. We could do mom called on 9/7. Notes that the information was provided after practice time, but that because of the absence, it was excused. Depending on your policies, maybe that's an unexcused because there was no prior notification. But however your policies run and however this communication log serves you is how you can utilize it. There's a few different ways that we can use this note section. One of those ways might be noting that mom is not usually available. So if possible, call dad. All right. So dad's going to be our first point of contact. And then we will contact mom if we're not able to reach dad. Maybe there is a divorce or a custody situation where the athlete is with certain parents on certain days of the week. Maybe it is Sunday through Wednesday. We need to contact dad. And Thursday through Saturday, we need to be contacting mom as the primary parent. Other things that we might make note of are if we're seeing any patterns in the absences. Maybe Abby is out with a headache pretty often, and we want to make note of that. So maybe we're seeing a pattern emerge that she's got a headache and she is not at practice or is sitting out. And maybe we've been excusing those for illness related absences, and that's okay for us via policy. But we can make a note that there has been 5 excused absences for headaches. And maybe we need to talk to mom or dad about all of these absences and how they're affecting not only Abby, but also the team. Maybe this is a meeting that we need to start having. Even though they're excused, they're hitting a number that warrants that conversation and some problem solving. It's also possible that you use this for tardies or reminding yourself if you have an athlete that is a multi sport athlete that they might have some certain absences or tardies that we want to keep track of. So maybe every Tuesday, Abby's going to be 15 minutes late because of volleyball. And whatever our arrangement is with that is how we handle it. But it's a good reminder for us that we're already aware of this. And this probably doesn't need to be communicated by parents every week throughout the volleyball season. We just have that information, we're aware of it, and we have it documented. But it also gives us guidelines that if Abby is late longer than that 15 minutes that we've agreed upon for her to get from volleyball to cheerleading, that we can have that conversation, that absence or tardy can then be noted, and we can go from there. Documentation can feel like a lot of work, but it can come in incredibly helpful when looking at things maybe like picking captains, and we want to know who's here consistently. It also comes in handy if we need to let an athlete go because of excessive absences. We have all of those things documented. So we have a written down proof and evidence of the situation that we've been facing to support our decision in that matter.